Welcome to my racetrack. I'm over here and there is some sort of a race in town today, and all the little gerblets are using my road as an off-ramp road. So if you hear them out there, that's what it is. Um, Finally the sun came out today. So we are getting to experience that. Let me just see if my Yeah, but other than that, there is a bit of cars out here right now that I'm finding very annoying. We get a lot of races over here. There's Laguna Seca and everything, so people go a bit crazy, right? What can you say? Um, let's put these cards out. Let's just pick a card for the day. Ooh, the Hermit. I'm always getting the Hermit. Soul searching, introspection, being alone, inner guidance. I think the Hermit's probably one of my spirit guide cards. We probably don't have enough hermits in the world anymore, right? Everybody's just out there putting their business out there on the streets. What's your guilty pleasure? Do you have one? I have a couple guilty pleasures. One of my big guilty pleasures lately is I like looking at bikinis. I like to look at bikinis on women, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like if there's a fashion show and there's bikinis, I want to watch it. Just kind of a distraction for me. I like to see what the new bikinis are, or swimsuits too, but more or less bikinis. Like I'm kind of fascinated right now that the thong bikini is so popular, and it's like, well, then you kind of might as well be naked. Hey, the bro, how's it going? You kind of might as well be naked if you're just going to wear a thong bikini. So I'm not really a fan of that kind of bikini, but I am noticing that they're kind of changing a lot. Sort of on the top, they're becoming a lot less fabric, and on the bottom, they're becoming a lot less fabric. But I would say that's kind of my guilty pleasure. I like watching bikinis. If there's a fashion show, I'll watch. And I also like watching if they have the beachwear. If there's beachwear, I like to watch that too. All athleisure wear, the exercise. Thank you for all those hearts, the bro. Is that from you? Um, I'm not so keen on watching the exercise clothes. But I do, my guilty pleasure is I like watching bikinis. And I don't know, I like seeing the different bodies in bikinis, because why should you be ashamed of wearing one? Wear it. Doesn't matter what your body looks like. I think there's just been so much prohibition put on women, especially that, because bikinis are cute. Come on, face it. But there's prohibitions put on them that, we have to have a perfect body in order to wear them, right? So that is a guilty pleasure of mine. Feel free to list yours if it's not X-rated. This is the Hermit. This is the card I drew for the day. Funny, I find myself balancing between being the Hermit and liking looking at bikinis. If you hear that right now, do you hear that? I have two hawks flying overhead, and I'm not sure. Let me go see if that is a baby hawk or... No, I think that's they're doing a mating ritual up in the sky right now. They are... your guilty pleasure is Chanel? Oh my. Oh my, I know, of course, the most famous thing is the suit, the Chanel suit. Very classic. I wish I had one. They're just, the fabric on them is gorgeous, especially I like when they do like the gold threading in it and everything. So, yeah, so, there's that dichotomy going on within me. Let's put the Hermit card up there. That's sort of our card for the day. I brought out my cutting tool. We're going to be cutting away some negative energy today. If anybody needs to have any of their negative energy cut away today, we can do that. We can dispel some ghosts if some ghosts are bothering you. Hey, Rhiannon. We will do some ghost dispelling. We can work on
Mama, Dada, quack, 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 quack.
Healing your inner child. These are parents who are full of love and accept you no matter what. Look at how adoringly they're looking at their baby. Huh? Their baby's in the little high chair, and they're very adoring parents on this little egg. So we can work on your inner child. Here we go. This one's really cute. We can work on the little part of you that gets their feelings hurt.
Meow,
Thank you, Rhiannon.
meow, meow.
That gets their feelings hurt easy. We can work on that too. We can work on that. Maybe we can work on your desire for jewels and things like that, the illusions that exist in the world, right? We can work when you're howling at the moon and nothing seems to be going your way and you're just howling at the moon. That's a different feeling than when your feelings are hurt, right? Howling at the moon, it's quite a bit different than when your feelings are hurt. And when your feelings are hurt, you're a little more unexpressive and just sort of holding it all in. But when you're howling at the moon, you're just really letting it all out. So we can work on that too. I've got my fluorite here, and then we can work on ancestors. This is a very old bobbin that's probably from, I'm going to say maybe 1901. If you want to do some ancestor work, we can do some ancestor work. We can do that too. Also, howling at the moon, we can work on your dark side. This is a very, very black crystal. Hey, the bro. We can work on your dark side. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I have my fluorite here. Now, fluorite to me always represents possibilities because there's so many different ways to look at fluorite. Thank you for all those hearts. Wow, that's super sweet. So we can work on your possibilities. What are your possibilities? I got all of these seashells. Look how beautiful that is in there. It's just as beautiful on the inside as it is on the outside. Maybe I should challenge this shell to help us work on your inner self, your inner self-esteem. Thanks for those hearts. Don't let your finger get tired there. Your inner self-esteem, right? Yeah, I said hi back, the bro. I got it. So we're saying hi to each other. So that's what I'm into today. I look at a lot of people's channels, and I'm friends with a lot of people that have other channels, and I notice how my channel is different because I was thinking about this last night. My channel is all about, it's not fun and games really. It's not playtime over here, I guess you could say. My channel is not playtime. It's not about just hanging out and having a good time, which is wonderful. And there are some channels that I go to that I absolutely love that. My channel is a little more serious, and I've gotten into some serious stuff with people here before. That was me just trying to kill some ants. And in trying to kill those ants, I hope I didn't kill my phone. There we go. Seems like it's okay. Starting to get to be summer here finally. So we are getting some ants. Anyways, I think that's what I thought and found, to be the difference with my channel than a lot of other channels. I try not to get too heavy, but I find that that's okay, because while I can really have a really, really, really good time, I'm trying to get this phone. Did you ever see one of these phones? This phone was the bomb when it came out. It's got, like double screens and everything. I love this phone. It's already summer for you? Wow. Hope I don't drop that again. My channel's more serious. My channel's more going into things that you kind of have to have a strong stomach in order to go into, and be willing to face the truth and maybe sit with it and think about it. These childhood traumas here, yeah, they're going to follow you forever. So pay me now or pay me later. That's one of my sayings. Pay me now or pay me later. Do the work now or do the work later. And the work later is not going to be as productive and as nice as the work you do now. You don't want to be on your deathbed lashing out, as happened to me and my family, at your children. You don't want to do that. So do the work now so you understand what's going on. So when your time comes, you're not a fucking asshole. All right. Speaking of fucking assholes, I wanted to do a reading today. Now, many people have a pronunciation problem with Maxwell's name. Now, mind you, Maxwell isn't the real family name. Her father changed that name to that, to give himself more power, right? To make him seem like he was of the aristocracy. It's two words, really, right? Max, maximum, and well, like we are well off, we are well funded. So who am I speaking about? Let's say the first name. Took me a long time to understand it. They pronounce it, the S is silent. It's not Ghislaine, like a jizz bucket. No, it's Ghislaine. That's how they pronounce it. It's a very fancy, very unique name, Ghislaine. And I know a lot of times people like to mispronounce people's names and mispronounce words to put them down. Case in point, it's not the Democrat Party, it's the Democratic Party. But many, most, all of your Republicans don't want to use the word democracy or democratic. So the bastardization of that is Democrat. At first it was kind of funny, but after all these years, I gotta say no. So, let's just draw 3 cards. Take the temperature. I'm also gonna throw out a dark mirror here. Let's throw out a dark mirror. Woody bro? Well, yes, because my mind is from an ancient time. People growing up now, they've used that word so much and bastardized it so much that the younger people think, oh, it's the Democrat Party. No, it's the Democratic Party. And let's pick out a dark mirror for her. Let's put that next to the family cards there for old Ghislaine. Ooh, taking the temperature. You know, she's been the steamroller. What was that song by? I'll be your da 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 da. Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer. She's been the steamroller a long time. Let's see what's going on with this one. Okay, are they all? Every single card is upside down. Now, many times when I get cards, if they're just a couple upside down, I don't read them. But when the majority of them is upside down like this, I do take that into consideration. Issues that are passing away from her are the going home. The most pressing thing on her mind, and look at, she might end up dead, right? She might end up severing all ties with this earthly plane. Also, resistance to change and unable to move on. A lot of times, though, the card of death doesn't really represent the card of death. It is also a great bringer of change, transitions, moving on. In its most grossest aspect, yeah, it would be death for her. She's not able to be that steamroller that she used to be, not at all. And her biggest wish right now, the thing she just goes to sleep every night for, mommy, daddy, please, 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 please. Please, if you've ever wished for anything in your life and you know what that feels like, please, 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 please just, oh, you're praying so hard, just want it so hard. The most thing she wants in the whole world is to just go home. Crawl under a rock, never put her head up again, make herself a cup of tea, have some toast, biscuit, whatever, call it a day. This is also, too, in the reverse, this is another card of transition. But she goes to bed every night dreaming. But because all these cards are reversed, I'm not seeing a good outcome for her. In fact, in what kind of a world? But we are in worlds that are very different now. In what kind of a world could she have a better outcome? Nothing good's going to come for this lady. She's not repentant. No repentance at all. And here's the thing she most worshipped the most would be the temple of my body. She was very, very, very enmeshed in predatory behavior, preying upon the bodies of others, and really using her own body as long as she could to get what she wanted with Epstein, right? That's really the thing she wanted the most. And if you look at this creature, it's almost a vampiric energy, right? This card is about darkness. And it's about the using of young girls' bodies. Because the main thing about the young girls is their bodies are unsullied. Their bodies are unsullied. And that is what she and Epstein wanted. They wanted unseen bodies. She had a vampiric nature. I mean, just look at her, right? Vampira. She could very well be. So this is the dark energy there. She's in a really tough spot. Death is at her door. Her ability to charge through as she used to do is gone. And her highest wish and dream, she just wants to be home. That's all the girl wants. You know, that Dorothy, where they're clicking their heels together. That's what she wants. She just wants to be home. But I am seeing something very dark in that energy that might prevent that. She might not be going home ever. Okay. Let's do a reading right now on the energy of Mr. T. And let's see where he's at with all of this. I'm also still thinking about guilty pleasures. Now, my concept of guilty pleasures is not anything nefarious or bad or to hurt someone. It's, most of us think of a guilty pleasure. It's, eating a container of ice cream or something like that. Epstein and Ghislaine got themselves involved in guilty pleasures that went beyond guilt and went beyond pleasure. These were addictive type behaviors, I would say, as well, too. Let's draw 3 cards for Epstein. Let's look at a past-present motivation for his addiction, compulsion to abuse those in less power than himself. 1, 2, 3. And let's draw a shadow card for him as well, too. Look at, he's oh man, he's the perennial Peter Pan. He wanted to live life without any consequences. And all he thought about 24/7, besides his perversions, was money. This is not a life well lived. This is not a life well lived. This card also speaks to the reckless behavior of him. Could he have had a good ending and it just sailed into the sunset after what he did? Probably. I mean, there's just no way. After what he did. No way. So, this is the Ace of Pentacles, which is, the card of prosperity and everything good having to do with that, right? I am going to be reading these upside down. But he was a scoundrel and reckless, and all of these opportunities for doing good and having anything in the world, it's almost like once he got his foot out the door of his family home, he was lost to the world. Lost to the world. Main course of action, the main thing he thought about, just like Mr. T all the time. This actually is for Epstein. I said it was going to be for Mr. T, but it's not. I changed my mind when I was shuffling the cards, so sorry if you're not able to keep up with me. The main thing about Mr. T and Mr. E was they were both extremely concerned about money, because money confers status, power, right? Status and power, and that's all they cared about. He was constantly taking risks. He was naive. He was foolish. He was a Peter Pan energy. Many times when you look at the Fool, it can be the Peter Pan energy. He was the despoiler of young women. He was the ruination of everything that is good in this card, which is the innocence and the beginnings. He was the spoiler of that. So you can, I think there's a clear bead on who he is, right? Let's read the dark card. And he turned into such a monster. If he was to ever recognize himself, he would say, "Is this me? Is this the young boy who started out what, in the Bronx or something? Back east where they have that accent? Brooklyn, the Bronx, whatever." He's just looking at himself and just going, "Is this me? What the hell happened to me?" And I'm probably sure anybody who maybe knew him, I think there was one girl who knew him from high school and said, he was a rather shy child. So here you have, in the end, the complete and utter horror towards his own self. Is this me? Is this who I've become? And I don't think he was able to recognize himself anymore. Him and Ghislaine with their addictions. Now, you can become addicted to abusing people. This is Ghislaine, vampire energy. Tell me what you want, master. They became so addicted to their vampire energy. That's all they could do. That's all they could do was prey upon girls, and then if they could prey upon adults, they would too. I think what I'm seeing also too in this is from the way these personas are presenting themselves, they like to make people afraid of them. They gained their power through money, intimidation, and fear. Yes, the fear factor. Oh, they had that going on strong. Now, she managed to live for a long time. I'm not sure how that is, because as we know, Virginia Roberts is gone. The French guy, she's a suicide. Jeffrey Epstein is a suicide. The guy that he used to do all his dirty deeds with, the French guy, I can't think of, Bonnell, who owned, if anybody out there can remember the name, who owned that modeling agency, who was working hand in hand with Epstein, who also got put to jail similarly around the same time as Epstein. He also was found dead in jail. I mean, you can add up the bodies, right, of who's left at this point. Mr. T and Ghislaine, the two main players. Now, Mr. T and Ghislaine knew each other very well. That's very well documented. Hanging out at parties, hanging out. They knew each other. She's the one who organized that birthday card book for Mr. E. Mr. T was more than happy to go along there. Let's draw some cards for Mr. E about how he's holding up right now with this situation. This was the card of the day, the Hermit. There's Ghislaine. This is confusion, chaos, lack of clarity. This is Ghislaine, the lady of the manor, as she always presented herself to be. And what is her main wish right now is to go home. She's Dorothy, just clicking her heels, desperate, desperate, desperate. If she has one thing she truly wants in her whole life, she just wants to go home, spend the night in her own bed, take a shower, maybe put on some body lotion, relax, have a cup of tea, just to be in her own home. That's what she wants, but that's reversed. He's in a bad place right now, but maybe look at one of the cards also too here. Is this having to do with the pardon? This is the card about money, which is generosity, sharing, giving wealth, things like that. Don't ever expect to get anything from him without, you know, two hands, two hands, clawing to want to get something back from it. Don't expect to ever get something for nothing with Mr. T. So I think Mr. T is existing right now, according to these cards. He is seriously, seriously considering giving her a pardon. I think he is seriously considering it. All around him, his greed, the manifestation of that greed is coming full force to smack him in the face right now. And Ghislaine holds the key to that. Right now, Ghislaine holds the key. He is not in a place of clarity. No one around him is clear what to do. He is in chaos, complete and utter chaos. Now, upright, this card, the Ace of Swords, is a lot of mental clarity. You're slashing through, you're cutting through the BS, you know what you're going to say. I read this card upside down. Mr. T is in a complete chaotic state right now. So I'm going to be interested and I'm going to be watching to see if is there more going to be coming out of his mouth, more talks about the pardon or some kind of a charity or something he can do to wipe away the stench and the stain of the abuse of these young girls. We'll see, right? We shall see. Wow, these cards are on fire today. They are on fire. Let's do a reading maybe on the general tenor. The general tenor at the White House right now. Teamwork. They're really having to work together right now as a team. We'll do 3 cards here. A lot of praying going on. A lot of praying. They want the Holy Mary pass on this in the White House right now. A ton of teamwork going on. They've got to get their story straight because they've had miscommunications, haven't they? They've had different stories going out. Miss B says, with her flipping back her hair, well, I've got all the papers on my desk right now. Had to backtrack. So the main thing they've got to do right now in the White House, get your stories straight. Work together 100%. Do not make any more screw-ups. Okay? Also, there's a lot of higher power going on here. They're really trying to call upon their higher selves in their prayers. They have many, 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 many prayer groups around the country who pray for them. These misguided souls somehow think they can work through the devil to achieve a godly future. So he's got the prayer groups working overtime here. And as we see in the White House, they are looking at the spilt milk. They're not ready to move on. They are in recrimination and a lot of finger pointing still going on right now. Plus, also, too, look at the FBI. Look at all the different departments. The main thing they have to focus on is getting that teamwork going, working together as a team, getting all the ducks in a row. Everybody has to be on the same page. That includes they're doing a lot of Christian work right now. I mean, I wouldn't call it Christian work. I'm not sure what you would call it, but they're doing a lot of that right now. And the environment is so dark and so heavy. So dark, so heavy. They go into work every day. What's going to happen today? This is despair, sadness. Things are not looking good for them. So this is not a good place to be working in the White House right now. Who wants to be working in there? Nobody. You got to pay people a lot of money to work there. Nobody wants to be there. All right, I think I'm going to call this a day. I'm trying to keep my lives short, about a half an hour or whatever. Let's say goodbye to our little parent ducks. They've got their little baby there. Quackity quack quack. And trying to make peace with your past, right? Are we all just victims of our childhood? Mommy and Daddy, did we not get enough kisses and love and hug? I love you, baby. You're just a little tiny egg that came into the world. What do you know? You're just a baby. You needed so much love and affection and attention. Did you get it? Were your needs met as a child? Were your mommy and daddy duck working together in concert to help you have a good life, or were they separated? I'm going to pick out a couple of rocks that I'm going to use to represent my parents. Let me see which ones I would choose. I think I would choose this one, sadly, for my dad. He didn't go out in a good way. And he was very blocked in his emotions and his feelings. And I think I would use this one for my mom, who died very early and continues to be, for me, a beacon of light. Now, I'm hoping at the very least my father can move from that maybe to a quartz. Might not be a clear quartz. Might be just a muddied quartz. But I'm hoping, he can move to that, at least on the spirit realm, and also too in my being, because I have to inculcate my parents into my essence, or I will be forever separated mentally, right? So I'm hoping I can get these two together, and my best hope for him, I think, is probably just a flawed quartz, a flawed gem. But they are my mom and dad, and I do try and honor them every day. All right, everybody, we got a lot on the record there. This is your host on the coast. Whoops. Coming to you from somewhere off the coast of nowhere.